there's a tension here, and I used to work with the Simple Way. I'm sort of a part of the Simple Way, and I particularly worked on Conspire magazine. And so Shane Claiborne is obviously this example of sort of opt out of the system, move to the margins of the empire, create a new way of being. Lots of the Simple Way folk work part-time jobs, or they're gardeners, or there's lots of interpersonal relationships. This relational tithe, sort of relational giving, was born out of this sort of idea of sort of creating new structures and saying, we're not gonna prop up this broken system any longer. And one of the other editors for Conspire worked for Project Home in Philadelphia, and he came from a different perspective, and he said, I used to think like that, and then there are homeless people, and they need beds tonight, and they need food today. And so it's like great that you can like have a few people on your couch from time to time, but there's like thousands of people that need beds and thousands of people that need food. And so really the most effective way is for these nonprofits and these government subsidized programs to meet these needs right now as we work to create new systems and better systems. There's needs right now. And so I sort of feel that tension in this issue also, that on the one hand, I want to say everyone leave. Any organization that's not affirming, there's other organizations out there that are. Don't support Sojourners, support Queers for Economic Justice. But at the same time, I recognize that Sojourners reaches an audience that Queers for Economic Justice doesn't. And that a lot of really important stuff hangs in the balance. And that if Sojourners alienates its audience or spends political capital in ineffective places, that people might go lose their jobs or lose their houses or go hungry, that people might die in wars. And so there's this constant tension between working within the system and creating our own systems. And I don't know if I have a clear way out, but I think that a crucial, important thing to do is not to wait until there's a crisis, not to wait until Sojourners rejects this ad. What we should have been doing earlier is working with Sojourners to help them build coalitions, to call them out when they weren't standing up. I mean, Sojourners hasn't been taking a stand for a while now. And so we could have been holding them accountable long before this particular juncture in their history. And so I think that we have a responsibility to always constantly be working. Also, at the same time, continue to support organizations that have a sort of a fuller sense of justice work than the old ones. And I think also it's important for me as a white male, debt-free American cisgender male in the U.S., right? It's really easy for me to say, well, this ad is the most important thing, and so what if it makes your coalition fall apart? But for other people who come from different perspectives, my friends who are even my gay friends who are in different life situations or have different identities, they might be more affected and they might have a different set of priorities. And so I think it's important to always ask ourselves, how are my priorities in this moment informed by my privileges, and how might people from other perspectives have different priorities, and how can we work to make sure that we accomplish good for all of us, and that I don't get some touchy-feely, really beautifully produced ad at the expense of, tens of thousands of people losing their houses because Sojourners can't advocate effectively anymore. So I think that there's this tension that we have to live into, and as activists in general, and I think as Christians really, we have both like the blessing and the cross of sort of living into this tension.